Hi, I'm Rashonda. I'm the creator of this YouTube channel and the artbyro.com website where you can find over 200 art and drawing tutorials. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I do my blown ink monsters. This is a really good creativity exercise. It's a lot of fun, but you do have to use your imagination and get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So let's go ahead and go on over to the art studio and I'll show you how I make mine. All right, let's make some blown ink monsters. This is kind of a two-step process here. We need to do the ink splatter part of it, the blown ink portion, and then the drawing portion. So a couple different ways, or probably several different ways you can do this. You can use India ink, or you can use watercolor paints or thin down regular type paints. This is just something I happen to have from a while ago, is some airbrush paint. So this is a liquid paint. That will work pretty good. So all you have to do is, these come with a little dropper, which is really nice. And you just put a little bit of ink down on your paper. And then just take a regular straw and you're going to blow the ink around, and you're going to have to turn it different directions because you want it to spread around, and it is going to make a bit of a mess, so be careful with that. I'm trying to keep from making a mess and keep it in the camera. It's a little tricky for sure. So that's going to be about it for this one. Once the ink dries out, you're not going to be able to spray it around anymore. So once you get to where it's too thin, then that's pretty much it. It does make a little bit of mess on the back side as well. So just be aware of that. You don't want to ruin anything. You don't want to get it all over your surface areas. You can use a paper towel and clean it up if you need to. This will dry fairly quickly, but just to avoid getting it places you don't want it to be. And that's why I have this. This is an old placemat that I cut down and I use when I'm doing anything that's a little bit on the messy side. So I can do another one. They're all going to be a little bit different depending on how the air moves around, how you put the paint down on the paper to begin with. So we can try this if this comes out. This is pretty old, so it might not want to come out of here right now. Let me get this working and I'll be right back. All right, got this going. We're just going to put some dry, and you can make lines with it. You can do just dots. So this type of paint really soaks into the paper a lot more. So you got to work fast. And that's okay. You can add. You're not trying to create anything specific. You just want to give yourself something to work with for your drawing. So this one obviously is a little bit lighter. The ink is a lot darker. Let's get this over here. The ink's a lot darker than what the paint shows up. So you might want to experiment a little bit with different types of paint or inks and decide which one you think is going to work for whatever type of artwork you want to make. So now we just have to let this dry. And then once that's dry, we can go on to the next step. Okay, so typically what I'll do is I'll make several of these blown ink patterns so that I have a few of them to choose from and see what kind of images come to mind. And then what I'll do is pick one of them, one that looks like something that's interesting to me that I want to work with. And then you can use either a pencil or a pen to start turning these into some kind of a monster or a creature or whatnot. So when I look at this, I see this looks like a mouth to me. This looks like a big mouth open and like maybe some hair on the chin part of it, maybe some horns or antlers or something. But you can try turning it around. Maybe you want to challenge yourself to do something this direction or this way. So the next thing is to look at what you have here, and then you want to add to it to create your monster. So we could do this, could be an eye in here. And then we could maybe make some teeth down here. We could, instead of doing the eye here, we could do the eye up top. And we could fill all that in. We could do an eye here and do an eye there. And make it more of a non-realistic type looking monster. So there's so many things you can do with this. I'm thinking I'll probably fill that in. Maybe we'll make this some kind of an eye up here. We can put some teeth in here. So it looks like his mouth's open. Maybe some teeth down here as well. And anything like these lines here, just kind of ignore that. This could be like some kind of drool coming down. We can add to that a little bit. Maybe we could make this an eye with like a snake eye type of a pupil on the inside. Then this we could turn into a horn. Maybe make another horn up here, coming back that way. So I think you get the idea of taking what you have here and transforming it into some kind of a monster. So then what I'll do is take my black pen and start working on all of those details and transforming this into some kind of a monster. And you can vary up these lines a little bit and make them match where the blown ink part of it is, because your lines aren't going to be straight and even where the ink is. So what you can do is mimic that on your other lines so that everything flows together. Same thing with these. I can break them up a little bit, make them more uniform with the rest of the lines that are already there. Make this other horn come up. I can do the same thing with this line, break it up a little bit, make it uneven, just so everything flows in together. And then after you get this all drawn out, of course, the next step is to decide if you want to add some color to it or not. Maybe you want to leave it black and white. You can use markers or color pencils, doesn't matter. Both will work just fine. And then what areas do you want to fill in? What areas do you want to leave white? So I would probably want to fill these in. And then probably this as well. That kind of looks like a nose to me. I like that there. And you could use a marker to fill this in. It would probably work a little bit better than this pen. You could also add some color in there instead of just filling it in black. But these are nice for working on your creativity. It's a good creativity exercise to try to push yourself to use your imagination, go out of your comfort zone a little bit. Anytime you can get out of your comfort zone, it's going to help you develop your creativity a little bit more. We'll make this look like some black slime sticking to his teeth. So that's pretty much it for the drawing part of it. And you can keep adding to it. You can, maybe you want to make this body bigger, have it come around here more like a kind of a snake head. Maybe put some snake skin type scaly patterns on here. And you can do as much or as little as what you want. That's up to you how much you want to work with it, what you want to add. Just throw in a quick pattern in here. And the thing that's kind of cool about something like this is it's completely made up. So you don't have to be like, all your lines don't have to be perfect and even. It actually looks a little better if they're not even, because it goes better with all these uneven lines that are here from the ink. So we can just put some of these in here. We could add some shading in here if we want. Could do some hatching or cross hatching. Maybe do a little bit along the outside edges of the eye. So break that up a little bit, maybe a little bit up here in the teeth. However you want to do it. It doesn't really matter. You just want to have some fun with it, play around, try some things, see what it looks like. Clean up these pencil lines a little bit. And then we can add some color to it. So what I'm thinking is green for the scales and red for the eye and the horns. And I'm gonna just use markers today. You can use colored pencils. Colored pencils look really nice with this. I've done these quite a bit with colored pencils. I'm just gonna put a lighter green down all over these scales. And then I'm gonna add some shadows with the darker green. And break this up a little bit. This will add a little bit of depth, so it's not just one flat color. Just do this on each of the scales where they overlap. Then go back over it to blend that in a little bit. Then for the eye, I'm going to make this red. And then I can take this darker red, put it at the top and on the edges. And then I want to do the same thing for the horn. Put the lighter red down. Then put some of that darker red in. And break up the solid color a little bit with something darker. Blend that in. Then you could also do some kind of a scenery for the background if you wanted. You could just add some color into the background. We could do gray on these areas that are white. We could put a little bit of gray in there, a real light gray. Just so they're not plain white. Add a little shadows in there with a light gray. And that's pretty much it. The only other thing we might want to do is use a white jelly roll pen and add some white highlights. Maybe put some reflections in the eye, a little bit in the scales. You could add more to the black areas if you wanted. Anywhere you think the light might be reflecting off. Just to add a little something to it, it breaks up those big areas of color. So that's it for the blown ink monster. I hope you feel inspired to work on some of your own, and I will see you next time. Happy creating! Well, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully you feel inspired to make your own ink monsters. If you do feel inspired, or if you do make your own, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And don't forget to give us a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to get notified for future content. And I will see you next time. Bye!